I really love this place. Good vibes.
The Chelome complex was built from the ground up to be the ideal, comfortable workplace.
Mechanic Glove. I've been here before.
Will we make it for the speech?
Oh, we've got plenty of time. We can even go on rides afterwards.
Atomic Heart is one of the weirdest games I have ever played. You can clearly see a lot of passion for its world building and storytelling, but there are some unfortunate gameplay issues that I can't simply overlook as a critic. However, I am of the mindset that Atomic Heart will gather a strong cult following, and it's still a fun ride that you shouldn't miss out on. Hello guys, welcome to a new Ace Ice review. Today we're going to review Atomic Heart for Xbox Series X. I played it on Game Pass, and today I will tell you my overall opinion of the game and my review. So stick around, thank you guys for watching, enjoy this review.
Shit, that Hedgie's lost it. Fuck my life.
This is usually a harmless geodesic geology robot.
Harmless my ass.
The graphics in Atomic Heart are really good, especially for a first-time game of a brand new studio. Mundfish is definitely inspired by a certain game called Bioshock. You know, that little indie game in the big city underwater. Everyone knows it at this point. And you can see that its world design is very much inspired by it. The locations you will visit throughout the story have a superb art direction, and it's definitely Atomic Heart's strongest aspect that interweaves very well with its main story. The game has good looking textures and good lighting, and it mostly runs pretty well on the Xbox Series X, which I reviewed it on. So keep in mind, I only have knowledge of the Xbox version, not the PlayStation version or the PC version. However, I did suffer from some technical issues. One of them was that I would fall through the floor with an infinite loading screen after it, but it was quickly fixed just by restarting the game. I also experienced some overlapping dialogue when characters spoke. These issues are pretty fixable with a patch though, so don't be worried. They didn't stop my gameplay progression in any means, and the game is in a pretty playable state. It's not a la Cyberpunk 2077, it's not that bad, I can tell you. Where Atomic Heart really shines though is the soundtrack. I loved all the classic Russian songs with remixed versions that gave the game a very unique identity. If you are a fan of Mick Gordon's Doom soundtrack, you will also love the music here, cause he helped on the OST together with some other talented individuals like the YouTuber Jeff Plays Guitar. Overall, the best soundtrack so far this year that I've heard. Really good job. Now, there is some stuff in the gameplay department that Atomic Heart does pretty well, and some stuff that is kind of not so well. First of all, even though Atomic Heart shares the Bioshock-like aesthetic, it isn't really much like Bioshock at all in its gameplay. Bioshock has more of a immersive sim gameplay feeling, while Atomic Heart opts more for RPG mechanics with stat upgrades, a skill tree and dialogue options. Let's start with what is good. I really liked the combat system. Robots are actually scary and difficult to defeat. Some might take more bullets than others, especially the individual boss fights that I also really enjoyed. Atomic Heart also has a very unique crafting system that lets you upgrade weapons from scrap that you get from defeating robots. Some scrap is more difficult to find, and you might need to grind some boss fights to make the most powerful weapons in the game. but you can easily beat the game with the weapon schematics you find in the world, so don't worry about that. There is also a very good looting mechanic with your glove that can easily pick up all the scrap in a room by just simply holding one button through a telekinetic power. Seriously, give this dev a raise that came up with this idea, cause it's awesome. And more games need to adopt this. Speaking of powers, you can unlock different powers that you can use in combat with your glove, and you can also individually upgrade these powers with the skill tree. You can use ice freezing powers or telekinetic powers that you can smash enemies to the ground that you lift up. They are very satisfying to use. I also liked some of the clever puzzles in the game. They were a nice distraction that brought some downtime from the combat encounters. Now, let's talk about some of the more frustrating parts of Atomic Heart. The game has an open world structure that you will see after playing a few hours, and it's kind of a mess. You have an alarm camera system in the game that warns other robots in the vicinity when you are spotted. The problem with this mechanic is that there are so many of these damn cameras that you will probably get spotted almost every single minute in the open world. And these robots are harsh. They will follow you in a big group until you just barely manage to escape with your life. It seems that the developers didn't really test this mechanic enough because it leads to pretty big balancing issues. It also punishes the player from actually exploring the open world to do side activities, and that's not really a good thing. I do think this game would have been much better without its open world structure. Atomic Heart would have benefited much more from a more linear world design like Bioshock, and that's when the game actually is on its best parts with the more linear design and linear levels. But I do believe this can be fixed up a bit with a patch by changing up spawn locations and less spawns overall in the world, or by removing some of the cameras. Let's see if Mundfish is willing to patch up the game this way, because it will help them in the end a lot. But despite these issues, I still enjoyed my time with it.
Greetings, comrades. I am Dmitry Sechenov, and this is Facility 3826. A warm welcome to your future.
The story in Atomic Heart is actually pretty good. Atomic Heart is basically an alternative version of Russia if they would have had more technical innovations than the US did. But it's also a critical view of communism. This game is not a weird political propaganda piece that other people would like you to believe it is. It's even quite the opposite of that. Some of the characters that you will meet are very interesting and colorful, with my personal favorites being Granny, the Glove, and the weird ass perverted fridge lady.
What the fuck? Fuck me!
Oh, what a stud! I can't get enough. Jocks, let me tie you to the bed, baby. No need to fight back, sugar. Oh, you're gonna love this.
And some of the very thick robot girls. The world building in the game is its strongest aspect, and a lot of care went into it, with multiple audio logs to listen to or environmental storytelling that is up to par with something like Bioshock. Unfortunately, some of the English dub is kind of bad, but it's also sometimes really funny, and it got me laughing really hard multiple times. Just don't expect a very serious tone for these characters. Expect something more like a B-tier movie, but with some strong, serious moments in there. And the main character is kind of a prick, but he does develop his character over the course of the story. P3 won't win any awards for being the best protagonist though anytime soon. Atomic Heart is a game with a lot of passion. Even though there are aspects on its gameplay that I heavily critique, or its bad main character, yet I still had a very fun time with the game. And it's definitely something that I want in my game collection. I do praise its strong art direction, soundtrack, combat system and interesting story. Atomic Heart is at the end of the day a good game with some rough edges. And I can only hope Mundfish doesn't give up and maybe wants to pursue a sequel in the future. I do recommend that you wait for a sale though if you don't want to play it on Game Pass, but you should try it out at a later time. I score Atomic Heart a 8 out of 10 with a skill score to 7.5. Now, did you guys enjoy this review, this Ace Ice review? Let me know in the comment section down below. What is your opinion of Atomic Heart? If you have already played it, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, like this video, that would be amazing. Subscribe to the channel, that would help us a ton. And visit our social media in the description down below. Of course, if you are interested in gaming news, I also have another channel called Get Rekt. I will link it in the description down below. And thank you guys for watching again. And I will see you guys in the next Ace Ice review. Bye bye.